Hey guys, thanks for joining me for what is now video 2 of our YouTube channel, The Thoughtful Second Half. I came across an article that I wanted to share with you. I came across it this morning, and I was reading it on my phone, as we read so many things nowadays, having a cup of coffee, and it concerned Alzheimer's. And I thought it was very interesting. Now I receive a daily newsletter via email from Arnold's Pump Club. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger. And they create and distribute a very informative newsletter that you can receive if you go to arnoldspumpclub.com. You can sign up for their newsletter. Very informative about health and fitness. They do their research, they cite their sources, and I've really come across lots of informative, important articles regarding health and fitness. This was in this morning's newsletter, and it's fascinating because it talks about and I have it right here on my tablet, it talks about a blood test that can predict Alzheimer's 20 years out. The article on the website is entitled "The Blood Test That Can Predict Alzheimer's 20 Years Out and the Lifestyle Factors That Control How Fast It Progresses." And so I read through the article, found it very interesting. It talks here about, and I'll just read a couple of blurbs to you. It says that researchers developed a blood test that can predict when Alzheimer's symptoms will appear up to 20 years before they show up. And that means changes you make now can significantly influence your future risk. Very, very interesting. They track a blood protein called p-tau217. You'll see this in the article. I'll post the link to the article just below the video on YouTube. They track this in hundreds of older adults across 2 independent cohorts over several years, building what they call a clock model, an estimate not just of whether someone will develop Alzheimer's, but when. I thought that was fascinating. So if you get a chance, click on the link below this video, check out the article. But I went ahead and put together some bullet points to talk about, because Alzheimer's can affect anyone. Gosh, I mean, there have been records of people as young as their late 20s that develop Alzheimer's. And then, of course, there are people who live beyond the age of 100 who don't develop Alzheimer's. So you wonder, well, how can it be so selective? Well, first off, Alzheimer's, as you probably already know, it's a progressive brain disorder that affects memory and behavior. Okay? Genetics matter. Genetics are a factor, but they're not the only factor. A big factor, really the biggest factor, is lifestyle. Your diet, what kind of a diet you eat, your fitness, do you exercise, your cardiovascular health. That's considered by many authorities to be the biggest factor as to whether or not you'll develop Alzheimer's. Let's talk a little bit about diet, because, you know, I may have mentioned I believe I did in my introductory video that I recorded yesterday. I've been into health and fitness for a pretty long time. I'm 62 years of age. I recently retired. And I've been working out, gosh, regularly since, I can even tell you the month and the year. I can't tell you the date. September of 1984. I started exercising. Was jilted by an old girlfriend, and I thought, oh, well, you know, I'm going to show her. Well, I'm glad we get over those sort of things. But health and fitness stuck. And, you know, I'm fortunate because in my family we have a history of cardiovascular disease. And I've got, you know, my mother had a couple of strokes and a heart attack before she passed away. My father died of his first heart attack at the age of 57. So, you know, there are some in my family who believe it's genetic. I don't believe that. And knock on wood, I've been proving that because of the lifestyle that I've been living for over 40 years now. And that's, you know, it consists of exercise and a healthy diet. Regarding the diet, this article, or the research that I did regarding the article that I read on Arnold's Pump Club, a key focus is your diet, the Mediterranean diet. There's another diet called the MIND diet. MIND is an acronym, M-I-N-D. I haven't looked into the MIND diet. I don't know exactly what the acronym stands for, but it's very similar to the Mediterranean diet. And it helps to protect brain function. So, for instance, key foods, omega-3 sources, salmon, cold water fish, particularly salmon, walnuts, flaxseed, almonds. Walnuts are specifically mentioned, and flax seeds. And then green leafy vegetables like spinach, kale, and collard greens. Wow, who knew? Now it depends on how you prepare these green leafy vegetables, because I grew up eating collard greens. Love collard greens. But I am a big fan of spinach. And I've been making spinach salads for my wife and I for years. In my opinion, I prefer spinach to kale. Kale tends to have a little bit of a bitter taste, and I prefer spinach. That's just my personal preference. But spinach is known to be a superfood. Not only is it dense in minerals and vitamins, but it's also high in protein. And so I'm a big advocate of spinach. Berries, blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, these are rich in flavonoids. Blueberries we eat a lot of in this house. I'm a big fan of Costco. I don't know if you guys go to Costco, maybe you go to Sam's Club or BJ's. We purchase a lot of frozen blueberries. We always have a couple of bags of frozen wild blueberries in our freezer, and I make protein shakes with them. I also make a breakfast dish, which sometimes I'll eat for dinner. It's granola with blueberries and Greek yogurt, non-fat Greek yogurt, sprinkling of walnuts, and a sprinkling of cinnamon. And boy, is it good. And it's really good for you. Whole grains are advocated, brown rice, quinoa. Quinoa is terrific, by the way. It's for a grain, it's considered a perfect source of protein. So quinoa is outstanding. Also legumes, beans, in other words. We eat lots of black beans. Black beans are considered very good, along with chickpeas. There's another word for chickpeas. But anyway, chickpeas, black beans, we eat a lot of those. High in fiber, high in protein, both of those. And then olive oil instead of butter. Okay, that's another thing that my research has come across in relation to this article concerning Alzheimer's. Extra virgin olive oil in particular is really good for you, and that's something that you can buy if you go to a Costco's, a Sam's Club, a BJ's. We use a lot of extra virgin olive oil. I'll put a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil in my protein shake. I used to put flaxseed oil, and then a good friend of mine told me, he said, look, why don't you use olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, instead of flaxseed oil? It's got the same, health factors, health benefits as flaxseed oil, and you've already got it in your house. So that's what I've been doing, tablespoon in my protein shake. So all these things are really, really good for you. You should limit your intake of processed foods, things like potato chips, sweet cereals, anything that's ultra processed. Stay away from them. Also, sugar. Reduce your intake of sugar. That's something that we've done, my wife and I, for quite some time. We don't put sugar in our coffee. I use soy milk. I use, in the Latino community, it's known as a greca. It's one of those mocha pots, the Italian mocha pot that you'll see people make espresso in. So that's what I make. I make espresso, and then I'll heat up a couple of mugs of soy milk, and then I'll pour the espresso into the soy milk, and I get what's essentially a latte, a soy latte. And soy milk, we drink soy milk and we drink almond milk. We only use almond milk for our protein shakes. We drink soy milk with our coffee. And then sometimes I'll make oatmeal, but when I make oatmeal, I use lactose-free milk, regular cow's milk, but lactose-free, and usually low-fat or non-fat. And I'll make oatmeal, for my wife and I. Anyway, those things are heart healthy and would benefit you not only from the aspect of preventing Alzheimer's, but also preventing cardiovascular disease. What's good for your heart, essentially, is good for your brain. So the Mediterranean diet and eating whole grain foods, limiting your intake of processed foods and sugar, once in a while having a glass of red wine, can be good for you. I'm a big fan of red wine. My wife and I love a good dry oaky red wine, a good oaky Cabernet. We've been getting into Spanish cuisine. We go to Spain a couple of times a year, and we're big fans of Rioja. And there's another wine that we discovered recently, Ribera del Duero. That is a good hearty red wine. But whatever your red wine preference, red wine is better for you than white wine, especially for your heart. So you should certainly consider that once in a while. Maybe one glass a day at most would benefit you. Exercise. Let's talk a little bit about exercise. Now, later I'm going to film a video in our gym here in our complex of different exercises you can do if you're interested in getting into health and fitness, getting into exercise. And as I said before, I mean, this video series is really tailored toward folks that are anywhere from 40, 50, 60, and beyond, particularly 50 and over. Those of you who are thinking of retirement, so I hope to post informative videos for you, such as this one. Exercise. Cardio exercise, according to the research I did regarding the Alzheimer's video, the Alzheimer's article on Arnold's Pump Club, 30 minutes 5 times a week. I don't do 30 minutes 5 times a week, but that's what my research has advocated. I don't really, I'll be quite honest, and I'm not, let me be very upfront and clear, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an athletic trainer, I'm not certified in training athletes or anything of that sort. I've just been living this very healthful lifestyle, including a healthy diet and regular exercise for over 40 years. And I've done a lot of reading and research on my own, and I've educated myself about it. So I do want to make sure I post that disclaimer. I'm not a doctor. If you get into an exercise regimen, let me say very clearly, check with your doctor first, okay? And you want to make sure that you're healthy enough to start exercising, to start walking, to start lifting weights or doing some sort of resistance training, push-ups, pull-ups, things of that sort. Check with your doctor. Hopefully you have insurance. I know in this country, oh my goodness, insurance has become more and more expensive. Recently, Congress did away with the Obamacare subsidies that helped make health care in the marketplace much more affordable. And so if you're fortunate enough to have health care, then go to the doctor, get a full checkup before you start exercising. If you don't have insurance, I don't recommend that you start exercising. Check with your doctor first, okay? Anyway, so 30 minutes, as I said, of cardio and resistance training, as I mentioned, lifting weights or doing some sort of body weight exercises, body squats, body lunges, push-ups, things of that sort. 2 to 3 times a week is what my research advocates. Personally, I think you should do it more often than twice a week. Twice a week isn't really going to benefit you. Minimum 3 times a week. I've been working out a minimum of 4 times a week. I've worked out, gosh, when I was in the Air Force, which was back in the 80s and 90s, I worked out 5 and 6 days a week. I don't advocate that unless you really want to do it, but minimum 3 times a week. And I'll create a video showing you different exercises, and hopefully you'll get some benefit from those videos. But the nice thing is it helps to improve, resistance training helps to increase muscle mass, maintain muscle mass, because after the age of 40 you start to lose muscle mass as an adult, unless you do things to maintain it, okay? But all of this stuff is good for your brain and help ward off Alzheimer's, which is the issue at hand here in this video. Cardiovascular, walking. I walk after every workout. I walk anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes on a treadmill. If the weather's nice, which it isn't right now, if the weather's nice, there's a park close to where we live with a beautiful lake. I walk around that lake 3 times for a total of about 2.5 miles. I do it at a fast pace, whether I'm on the treadmill or I'm walking around the lake. I walk what seems to be anywhere from 4 to 4.2 miles an hour. So it's a good, moderate, healthy clip. Gets my heart rate up, and it's a good way to finish off my resistance training. So that's something that you might want to consider. Again, check with your doctor first. Putting it all together, healthy eating, Mediterranean-based diet, along with a regular exercise routine can really benefit you in not only cardiovascular health, but brain health, and helping to ward off Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is a cruel disease. You can go from being very functional and healthy one year to forgetting things, forgetting where you live, forgetting what you're saying. It's not just a simple issue of entering another room. You know, you're in your apartment or your home, you go into another room to get something, and then you're like, what, and we all go through this. What did I come in here for? I can't remember. You retrace your steps, you'll probably remember what you went in there for. That's not an indication of Alzheimer's. There are other symptoms that you should pay attention to. Again, I will post the bullet points that I came upon in my research that I created, along with the sites to my research, valid sites, Harvard University, National Institute of Health, those sort of sites where you can read the benefits of exercise, read about the benefits of exercise and a good, healthy Mediterranean diet, for example. Anyway, I hope this helped you. And if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, by all means, post them in the comments section of the video. And we hope to see you again soon. And I'm going to hopefully pause or turn off this video using my little microphone. It's got a button on the side. You got to click the button, and that turns the video off. So